The Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, God is one. Amen. Christ is risen. Good morning to Vicky and Andrew and Dino. Good evening to Thekla. Falling asleep early? Well, that's probably a very good thing. Explains also your spelling. Mine spelling is not the important part. It's an absolutely beautiful day today here. It is sunny, it is bright, the sky is blue, the air is lovely and clear. Everything you can say about a beautiful day is there. So without any doubt at all, everybody will be complaining in a few before very long that they're too hot and how much they prefer it when it's cold. Ah, dear. We piped and you would not dance, you mourned and you would not weep. I'm afraid that's the way it is for the British people and the weather. It's always wrong, no matter how how predictable it might be. So it's the middle of February and it's snowing. Well, who'd believe it? Middle of summer and it's sunny, they all get sunburned. Who'd believe it? Well, anyway, here we go. A beautiful day. It was a beautiful day yesterday as well, which probably accounts for the fact that we had the smallest number of people in church we've had for a very long time. They could have thrown open the doors and had buglers outside and fanfares inviting people to come in, and still had half the already planned half-empty church even emptier. So I guess everybody took the opportunity to sneak off down to the seaside. The seaside around here is very beautiful. In the summertime, we have the most gorgeous beaches, mile after mile of beautiful sandy beaches with the lovely sand and huge open stretches, and large parts that are completely deserted even in midsummer with all kids on holiday. I suppose they usually go off to Spain or Portugal or somewhere. And then in the wintertime, these same beaches are inhabited by seals that loaf around on the beach. They do amuse me, the seals. They are very fat, and they quite obviously find it uncomfortable being out on the beach. They have this sort of feeling terribly sorry for myself look on their faces. And even when it's terribly hot, I mean terribly cold, the seals themselves look to be terribly hot and about to burst into flames from heat stroke. And they stink. They really do stink. That is something I remember being astonished by. And the other thing they do is they make a sort of wooing sort of noise, which is extremely creepy. If you didn't know they were there and just heard this wooing sound, you'd think the whole place is full of ghosts. But when you do know they're there, they are quite frightening because they are big. They're far bigger than I thought as well. When they raise themselves up, they're the same height. No, you're not playing yet. Well, it should be. Can you hear? See me? I think Thekla might have actually gone to sleep. It doesn't really matter if you can't say any talking nonsense about seals. Oh yeah, it looks as if everybody else can do that. So you have, but they're very, very big. And there's only the thinnest possible fences between you and them when the seals are all breeding. So you can get right up close to them, really close. And some idiots every year try and pat them and get bitten. Well, honestly, what do they expect? Right, here we go. I see other people have turned up as well, so we better crack on. Okie dokie, here we go. So George, Victoria, God bless you. Christ is risen indeed. Good morning, Judith. Good morning, Christine. And Rob. Good morning, Rob. Rob from Wales, not very far away from the monastery, in fact. We go up on top of the hill, we can see exactly where you are from there. And I used to live in Welshpool, which is not very far away from where Rob lives. And one of the other people who actually watches this does live in Welshpool. Right, here we go. John chapter 18, verses 33 to 40. So to the end of that chapter, which means we'll be beginning again with a new chapter tomorrow. Okay, good morning, Natalia. Here we are. Then Pilate entered the praetorium again, called Jesus and said to him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus answered him, "Are you speaking for yourself about this, or did others tell you this concerning me?" Pilate answered, "Am I a Jew? Your own nation and the chief priests have delivered you to me. What have you done?" Jesus answered, "My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, my servants would fight." It actually says would fight, so that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now my kingdom is not from here. Pilate therefore said to him, "Are you a king then?" It really should be, "You are a king then." "You are a king then." Jesus answered, "You say rightly that I am a king. For this I was born, and for this cause I have come into the world, that I should bear witness to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth hears my voice." Pilate said to him, "What is truth?" And when he had said this, he went out again to the Jews and said to them, "I find no fault in him at all. But you have a custom that I should release someone to you at the Passover. Do you therefore want me to release to you the King of the Jews?" Then they all cried again, saying, "Not this man, but Barabbas." Now Barabbas was a robber. Okay. Your seal sounds, oh dear. What I'm going to be famous for? Nothing at all, except for making funny groaning noises like a seal. Good morning, Stella. Happy spring bank holiday to you as well. Okay, verse 33. Jesus is brought into the praetorium. He's brought away from the crowd, and Pontius Pilate is probably still frightened that the crowd will overcome themselves and try and tear him to pieces. But by taking him into the praetorium, of course, and removing him from the Jewish high priests and the leaders of Israel, he is taken into the praetorium, where he will be defiled by going into the house of a Gentile. Now here we have that other bit of hypocrisy that the high priest shows. He's not wishing to be defiled himself, but he's quite happy to allow one of his people to be defiled, just because he wants to kill him. And that whole business of being defiled is interesting, isn't it? Because not long later, in fact, in Acts chapter 10, you find Peter being invited to eat all sorts of unclean animals, all sorts of four-footed things that are unclean. So things like lizards and stuff like that. And Peter completely refuses to do so, but 3 times he's offered this, and then he is told to go to the house of a Gentile being Cornelius. Yesterday's readings were immediately after that in Acts chapter 11. So it's interesting. The Lord himself does not feel defilement by going into Pontius Pilate's house. And then we have this other thing as well. The earthly ruler summons the heavenly ruler into his house. And the opposite, of course, is what the Lord wishes to do. The Lord, being the heavenly ruler, wishes to summons all of us into his own home to be with him. And Pilate asks the Lord something that is quite reasonable. It says, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Actually, it can be read the other way around. You are the king of the Jews. Both ways round. So you are you? Okay? And that is important. Let's have a quick look to see exactly what it is the Lord he says. He says, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Okay? So he's accepting the idea and he's asking the Lord the question at the same time. Now you might like to ask yourself, what language would they be speaking? And the answer is, despite the best efforts of Mel Gibson, everybody so far will have been speaking to each other entirely in Greek. So Pontius Pilate, being educated Roman, would have spoken in Greek, and the Lord, being educated Jew, would have spoken in Greek as well. Indeed, everybody spoke Greek back those days, because it had been under Greek rule for a very long time. Well, actually, I suppose Antiochus, from the time of Alexander the Great onwards, the whole culture of the area would have been Greek, and the ordinary language of everybody would have been Greek. So rather like going to somewhere like India or Kenya or somewhere like that, that is part of the British Commonwealth, or was part of the British Commonwealth, part of the British Empire, part of the Commonwealth. If you speak English, then you're never going to learn the local language because everybody else will be speaking English as well. So, are you the king of the Jews? And the Lord answers in an interesting way. Okay? Now, Pilate, looking at the Lord, is not really looking at somebody who looks to be a king at all. He is already bruised, he's already battered, he's being grabbed in the middle of the night, he won't have slept at all, he's gone through the show trial, and he's been hit in the face by one of the guards, Annas's guards. And so this man does not look like a king, let alone a god, who is standing before him. And we might as well ask ourselves then about king. Okay? Are you the king of the Jews? Well, who is the king of the Jews? And that is an important question. In the Old Testament, one of the interesting things about the Hebrews, the Jewish people, as they came to be known, one of the interesting things about the Hebrew people is that for a very long time they had no king. God was their king. They didn't have any ruler who lorded it over them and who taxed them and had a standing army and all those other things. Everybody together was led by God. And amongst the people, there were certain people who were prophets and other people who were judges, who did not lord it over them, but judged between them and led them according to God's will. And then the people came to Samuel and said, "We'd like a king, like the other nations have kings." And Samuel is very upset about this because he sees this as an apostasy against God. They have gone away from God. God, who is their king, they have turned their back on. They want an ordinary person, just like any other nation had an ordinary person. And he chooses Saul. And he warns them, kings are not going to turn out well for you. They're going to take all your best things, they're going to take the best of everything you have and keep it for themselves and lead you into war against nations that you'd rather be at peace with. But they still want to have their own king. Now, that's important. So when the Lord is saying that he is a king and king of the Jews, he is making it clear that he is in fact God, the real king of the Jews. Not Herod, not any of the other kings, not like Pilate, not a puppet king, but actually a king of the Jews, and therefore the Lord of heaven and earth as well. Okay? Well, the Jewish high priest is trying to have his own king executed. So when Pilate asks this question, the Lord answers him, "Are you speaking for yourself about this, or did others tell you concerning me?" Now, is this a Roman question, Pontius Pilate, you are asking? Or is it a Jewish question you are asking? Because the answer to each one is going to be different. And then Pilate makes it quite clear that he has absolutely no interest at all in any Jewish religious matter. He says, am I a Jew? Okay. Your own people have done this to Christ, have done this to you. He's not interested in quibbling about Jewish matters. That's not interesting to him. He's looking at this person who appears to be completely harmless. He would certainly have heard of him, heard of some rabbi going around, but so far his spies would have told him that there's nothing dangerous about this man at all. He has no interest at all in what the Jews are really asking about. Are you speaking for yourself about this, or did others tell you concerning me? The second point here as well. How interested are you, Pontius Pilate, in finding out about me? Okay? This is the Lord giving Pontius Pilate the opportunity to be saved. Do you wish to be saved or not? Are you asking for yourself? Or are you just asking because they've told you about me? And we have to say to ourselves as well, we can find out all sorts of things about the Lord and make all sorts of interesting studies about him. But in the end, we need to say, am I speaking for myself? Am I asking, am I studying for myself? Am I really interested in finding out more about the Lord because that's going to change my life completely? Or is it just one of those things that I do because it happens to be I'm mildly interested and it's interesting intellectual exercise? Because your salvation is to do with this. Anyway, Pontius Pilate says, what have you done? He wants to know why it is that the Jewish leaders are so angry with the Lord that they want him dead. It's not just that they are angry, but they want him dead. Okay? They want to kill their king. So what have you done? And we know that he's done nothing deserving of death. But Pilate also is in a quandary. There still is no charge against the Lord. The Jews have not brought a proper charge. He's not interested in the Lord being this sort of wishy-washy king that he hears about. What's that about? What have you done? And the Lord doesn't really answer him in that way. He continues to talk to Pilate about what he means by the kingdom of God. And he says, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, my servants would fight, so that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now my kingdom is not from here. The translation is not quite right there. It should be in the present continuous. So the Lord is talking about his kingdom. If he had any worldly ambition, the Lord is saying, his followers would be worldly also, and they would be fighting like worldly people do. And it is, they will be fighting. My followers, my servants would be fighting, says the Lord. It's present continuous. My followers, my servants would be fighting like worldly people fight. They'd be fighting, they'd be killing, they'd be maiming people, and they'd be being killed and maimed for what? A fleeting victory, rather like you Romans fight and you kill and you maim and get killed for a fleeting victory. For what? To do what? Where's the Roman Empire now? Actually, it's all around us. If you look carefully in this county here, the Roman Empire is everywhere. It's in the genes of the people. It's in the shape of the city. All the roads leading to it and from it, all Roman. All the big ones are. Where the place is, the fact that it faces a particular way, the castle and cathedral, all there because the Roman Empire, really it sort of hangs on in all sorts of interesting ways. a fleeting victory. But the disciples are not fighting. There is no insurrection. There is actually, but I'll come on to that in a moment. The Lord is saying, it's not that sort of kingdom, Pontius Pilate. But there is an insurrection. There are probably two. The first insurrection is of the high priest and the Sanhedrin who have risen up against God. And they who are meant to be the ones that worship God and bring God to the people and the people to God are the ones who have stood between the people and God and made a barrier. There is now a barrier. We stand here, you stand there. We're not allowing you to come to God. In fact, God, who came to the people, we're going to kill you. So there's a full-scale insurrection against God, the Holy Trinity. That's insurrection number one. And they are fighting on behalf of the evil one. And they are fighting. In the background, Pontius Pilate can hear those people shouting out for his crucifixion. We know that because later on it says they continue to shout. So they're shouting all the time. But there's a second insurrection going on. And that insurrection is in fact coming from the Lord's disciples and from the Lord himself. The Lord and his disciples, just like we are now, are ourselves involved in an insurrection against the prince of this world. We have risen up and we are fighting against evil and the evil one. To poneru. We're fighting against him, Satan himself. And that fight, that insurrection, is one that in the end, all the way through in fact, the Lord wins person by person, generation by generation, hour by hour, down through the ages. As each new generation comes, each new generation must rise up against Satan, the prince of this world, in insurrection and fight him better than hell. There's a saying, isn't there? Fight like hell. We have to fight better than hell and use every spiritual thing that we have to overcome Satan. Just now, Pontius Pilate looked at this man and think there's no sort of kingdom associated with you, and even your disciples have run away, some of them naked, into the woods. So what are you talking about? But at this point, God himself, Christ God himself, is fighting Satan and all evil throughout all ages head on. And we know that he'll win. The disciples, they are too weak to do that. But come Pentecost, they also will have everything they need in order to wage this war against evil. Okay? Not that sort of kingdom, Pilate. That's not what we're talking about here. And Pilate says to him, you are a king then. Okay? It's affirmative. It's not really a question. You are a king then. He's affirming, you are a king then. You call yourself a king. And the Lord carries on. You say rightly that I am a king. Okay? That's the real translation of that. Sometimes it's put the other way around. Jesus agrees with him. Yes, my kingdom is truth. Okay? Fighting against the kingdom of lies. You know, Satan is called the father of lies. My kingdom is truth. And those people who are truth listen to my voice. They listen to me. I am their king. Truly, he is their king. The king of Israel is their king because he is God. And he then carries on to say, the incarnation is centered on this. Okay? We bear witness to the truth in a world governed currently by the liar. And that's an important way of looking at this. So we've had earlier on God and Satan, good and evil pitted against each other. Good is always going to win because Evil, in fact, is of no significance in the end. It might appear to be terrible, cause an awful lot of death, destruction, mayhem, maiming and killing on both sides, but in the end it disappears. The truth is eternal, the lies will disappear. Lies always disappear in the face of truth. And here we have the kingdom of truth pitted against the kingdom of lies. Beelzebub, you remember, the Lord of the Flies. The Lord of the Flies is Satan, and he is lies and rot. And then Pilate says in verse 38, what is truth? And in a sense, you have a man here who is sick and tired of all the petty stuff that he has to do all day long. You know, don't you know that I'm here trying to govern a really unruly part of the Roman Empire? And here am I, and all that would involve compromise all the time with any decent person's integrity. And Pontius Pilate probably has lost all of his integrity a long time ago. He's got a bit left. And actually it's interesting because most of the church fathers say that he's trying to be a good man. He's doing his best. He's trying to be a good man. He fails miserably, but he is at least having a go at it. And they don't find that he's anything like as guilty as the Jewish authorities are. And that's an interesting thing. So they don't see it as being completely equal. So what is truth? And unlikely as it seems, truth is standing in front of him, bound and vulnerable, already bruised and possibly bleeding and looking weak. And before very long, Pilate will whip him, mock him, and crucify him. He'll whip, mock, and crucify truth. And that is often the way that truth and goodness is. Goodness and truth are often very vulnerable. They are easily killed, easily mocked, easily spat upon, easily made fun of, easily beaten, and easily killed off. Whereas lies look to be much more powerful. Much, much more powerful. But in the end, it's truth that prevails. Truth will come to resurrection in this particular case, and the lies will disappear. The fathers, they say, generally take Pilate's side. They see that he's trying, he wishes to save Christ, but he doesn't have the ability to control the Jewish leaders. And he's looking for a certain peace, meaning he doesn't want insurrection. He doesn't get peace, but he's looking for a lack of insurrection amongst the people. And in the end of verse 38, he goes out and he says to the Jews, says to them, I find no fault in him at all. I can't find anything wrong with this man. Okay? Which is terrible, because before very long he has him executed. Pilate has the last-ditch, well, not quite last-ditch attempt. The last-ditch attempt comes next. Last-ditch attempt to save Christ. He says, last but one, you have a custom that I should release someone to you at the Passover. Do you therefore want me to release to you the King of the Jews? Then they all cried again, saying, not this man, but Barabbas. Now Barabbas was a robber. Do you want me to release this popular rabbi to you? I'm going to call him the King of the Jews, since that's what you said to me. The crowd is shouting all the time, we know that, because it says, they cried again, saying, they've been shouting out the whole time. He's inviting them to choose. You can choose. You can have this man. I'll pass him over to you. I know that he's popular amongst most of you. You can sneeze in him. Excuse me. It's the sunshine. When it comes in, it makes me sneeze. Choice between... I'm going to sneeze again. I'm going to sneeze twice. Oh, excuse me. You have the popular rabbi, which expecting everybody to say, yes, yes, that'd be very good. Or alternatively, well, he wasn't giving them an alternative, and instead of which they choose somebody who is exactly what the Jewish high priest has told Pilate that the Lord is like. They choose a man, quite extraordinarily, who is a robber, a rioter, and a murderer. The exact opposite of what the Lord really is. Okay? Who is a man of peace, a man who gives, and a man who brings life. The two names, of course, are very important. We know from Matthew that Barabbas is called Joshua Bar Abbas. Bar means son of, Abbas, the father, or father, son of the father. Please apologize to your cat. Not this man, but Joshua Bar Abbas. Okay, Joshua in Latinized form is Jesus. So now you have two Jesuses. The one is called Jesus Bar Abbas, Jesus, son of the Father, and the other one is Jesus, son of man. Okay, very, very similar names. And who do they choose? They go for the son of the Father. They set him free. And in a sense, here we have the first example of the Lord's passion, setting somebody entirely worthy of death free. And there's no doubt about it. Barabbas should have been executed that day and would have been number 3 in between the other two murderers to have been executed. But Barabbas goes free. He is given his life, and the Lord steps into his place. And that is an important part of the whole passion to notice. The son of which father is the question? Bar Abbas, and all of the fathers say, well, he's son of his father, the devil. Whereas the Lord, son of man, he steps into the place of Jesus Bar Abbas and sets him free. And he too now has the opportunity to repent and go forth into life free from this. There we go. End of chapter. We got through that chapter very rapidly. I think I ought to go back and start doing word by word. What do you think? I've forgotten I was making seal sounds earlier on. Good morning, Tony, from a balmy island. How nice. Good morning, Ellie, and I'm going to guess there's also Gabby there as well. Good morning, God bless you both. And Melengith, good morning. Yes, the Son of God, God, the King of Israel is of course God. And therefore the whole of the Passion narrative is about, and you'll see this very clearly in the next chapter, is about the enthronement of God, his glorification, God's enthronement upon the cross as King of Israel. And that's why it is that on Orthodox crosses, it often says we expect to see Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews, which is what it says on Western ones. You often see the King of Glory. So he's enthroned in glory as King not only of Israel, but of everybody. Good morning, Gary. Good morning, Christos Eviat, Adeferat and Alviat. Good morning, Jovan, Mariana, and I'm sorry about waking up your cat. No, sneezing when you're driving is not a good idea. It's a very strange thing. I don't know why I sneeze when that happens. Even thinking about it makes me want to sneeze all over again. Yeah, God bless you, Rob. I'm glad they're helpful to you. There are some really good things, really, really good things on the internet. There's a very good series of things done by a man. It's called something like 10-minute Bible study. And he's been meeting all sorts of clergy from different denominations. He must have been very taken by the Orthodox Church. He's a Protestant of some sort, a Baptist or a Lutheran, I'm not sure. Really nice man. And he's met an Orthodox priest, Antiochian Orthodox priest in America. I must have been very taken by him because he's been back, I think, 3 times to see this fellow. So it'll be interesting. It's obviously deeply affected him and surprised him in a way that, in fact, I think 4 times. I think he's made 4 videos about this now. Okay. Yeah, have a nice, lovely bank holiday, Osadino, and your son. You're going to have street food and milkshakes. Very good. That's very good. The cat is back to sleep, big, lazy, tortoiseshell Siamese. That's lovely. They're very vocal cats, those ones, aren't they? Right, ho. Right, be good. God bless you. I've got lots of people coming one way and another today, so that is good. One at a time. We've had people here since 8 o'clock, so that is also good. And God willing, all being well, tomorrow we will have another go at this. Today is Memorial Day for whom? In America, I think you have Memorial Day, don't you, for the armed forces. For us, this is the May Spring Bank holiday. I think it used to be May the 1st, but I think they've cancelled that one and have it at the end. I think they didn't want the communist bank holiday instead. Okay, right. God bless. Carry on praying for Simon, please. And I don't know what's happened to the child. I'll see if I can find out today. Carry on praying for Tim, who is quite ill, and also for the other Simon, hoping that, God willing, he will be cured. It was Vera's memorial yesterday. I shall pray for her today. Gosh, it seems like no time ago. It was a beautiful day when we buried her. I remember that. Okay, God bless you and keep you. Your prayers. Where does time go? Hey.